Live from the Export Beer Garden studio, it is the feature-length agenda for the 11th of May.
The Agenda, an alternative commentary collective podcast.
Yeah, good morning. Keen listeners among you will have noticed that I am not G Lane. My name is Manaia Stewart. I am joined this morning in studio by Matt Heath. Good morning, Heath. How are you?
Would it kill you to run a heater in here or something? It's like a freaking beer fridge in this room. What's going on, mate?
It runs very... Well, it's because when we pack it out with about 6 punishing, sweaty, hairy dudes, then it massively overheats because we've got all this technology in here, TVs and whatever the hell those things over there do.
Refrigerators.
Yeah, and then also a refrigerator as well.
Yeah, you're right. So this is calibrated for 9 guys watching cricket.
Yeah, and we've just been the first people in here, so we've just noticed it. But I've got the scarf on. It has been Arctic up here. I don't think anyone south of Auckland wants to hear us complain about that, but it has been cold. Snow down south. There
was a temperature warning in Auckland because it was going to go less than 15.
There's been so many weather warnings lately that they're just noise, and no one gives a shit about them anymore.
Yeah, well, a guy was painting my house, and the emergency went off, and he dropped the paint. He got a fright and dropped the paint off the ladder, and it splashed all over the lounge floor.
Oh, inside.
Inside, yeah, yeah. Good time to be painting outside.
Yeah, how do you clean that then? So
yeah, look, mate, that sounds like a him problem, not a me problem.
It does. All right, we've got plenty of sporting problems to digest. Let's get stuck in with item number 1. The Warriors versus the NRL. This is the saga that just won't die. The latest in the ongoing and ever-escalating Warriors v Refs situation is basically that the NRL are considering some sort of legal action, a defamation suit perhaps against Jason Paris, the CEO of One New Zealand. Matt, your thoughts on this whole saga?
I think that Jason Paris, he's really let himself hang out like an old man's nappy and legally, because he hasn't just said incompetence, he said cheating, and there's money involved.
He said cheating of the highest order.
Cheating of the highest order is running a highly secured routing facility in town when you rent a special apartment with a video camera at the door and a code to get in, and you're taking your mistress up there. That's cheating of the highest order.
And HSRF.
Yeah, I mean, it is obviously frustrating, but I think from a franchise perspective, what Andrew Webster said was the way. We can't have a victim mentality. We've just got to try and win. And if you're doing well, you make your own luck. And he's saying it's not the difference between winning or losing. And that's the attitude you've got to have within a franchise, because if you're going, they're out to get us. Yeah. And also the NRL aren't trying to destroy. If there's something going on, maybe there's an unconscious bias. If there's something going on, the NRL really wants and needs the Warriors to succeed.
Yeah, 100%.
They want to take all of Super Rugby and put it on the Warriors. And they've got a chance to do that. They would love a second franchise in New Zealand. They would love to invade our 5 million people as much as they can. So the NRL aren't shitting on us. But as a Wawa's fan, when things are going well, I'm there screaming like Jason Paris at the TV constantly.
Yeah.
Screaming and sure of it. I'm just not a CEO of a major organisation and I'm not getting it out there on tweets.
That's the only difference. We've been talking about this all week on various different platforms that everybody does this every weekend. Millions of people take to social media to slag off the refs against the Warriors. I just this weekend was slagging off the Warriors on commentary. And so I wonder what the defamation rules are.
Well, the rules are they're not going to bother going after you. I mean, you're a big fish. Don't get me wrong, Manaia. But I don't think they're going to get together and go and see their lawyers.
Yeah,
Manaia Stewart's going to have another go. We've got to take this guy down.
Maybe that's next week's scandal. Di Henwood had a take. He mentioned it in our group chat. He's just worried that this might backfire on New Zealand, on the Warriors fans, on the Warriors in particular, because now Australians are going to be like, oh, look at these Warriors, they're always going to have a sook.
Yeah.
I am worried about that. I'm concerned about that.
Arguably the toughest league and the toughest sport in the entire world, and you don't want to be seen to be whinging and complaining and being the victim, being a hard done by, which is, I think, why Andrew Webster was like, let's make this absolutely clear. Yeah. We are not going to be victims on this.
That's also what he should say as well. Regardless of what he actually thinks, he should say.
Exactly. Exactly.
Leave it for us.
And I understand, like a coach at a post-match press conference going, well, we're having a word about this. We weren't happy about that. That's always going to happen because they're going to feel like it. But, and also, in the Warriors' defense, this guy's just the sponsor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
he's not in the club. He's not in the changing rooms.
Like the boss of Export Ultra could come out and say, I think I think someone's having to go at the ACC.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I think the mainstream
that's
media.
not us. Yeah,
The mainstream media are biased against the alternative commentary collective.
Yeah. So anyway.
I kind of wish they would.
But I love having that. I'm always like this with the Highlanders. As far as I'm concerned, the entire world is against the Highlanders whenever I watch them. But it could just be that they're not quite as good as the Chiefs.
Done a poor job of recruiting. Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of hard to say. Or it could be the refs. You might
Could
be
be
right.
the refs. Could be the refs.
Sticking on NRL, Gus Gould, he looks like an animated wombat whenever he's on TV. He's tremendous. He's a stalwart of the rugby league community, and he is one of the greatest social media presences. He tweets about teams as if they're singular. So when we talk about the Panthers, when we talk about the Warriors, the Tigers, he calls them Tiger. Tiger were good in that game. Panther were bad in that game. It's such old man social. He's tremendous. He's taken to Twitter to run through a day in the life of Phil Gould. Let me walk you through it. Busy day, he opens. 8 separate meetings. 4 coffees, 3 Coke Zero, Vegemite on toast, chicken wings, carrot cake, Chinese dinner. Home now. Exhausted, but no chance of sleep for a while. Busy day again tomorrow. Plenty happening in the world of rugby league.
There's plenty of happening in your mouth and stomach and colon, but there's not really outlining much that's happening in the world of rugby league.
God, how would you go 4 coffees, 3 Coke Zeros, and then Vegemite on toast? So I'm presuming he's listing these chronologically. So before he's even had breakfast, he's 4 coffees and 3 Coke Zeros deep. He's then into chicken wings and carrot cake for lunch.
Either that or he's eating like when you first move into a flat out of mum and dad's house when you're having marmite on toast for dinner.
Yeah, well, no, because he has a Chinese dinner.
He's a Chinese dinner. Right.
And then goes home exhausted. Now, Gus Gould must be about 70 years old.
Yeah.
So that's going to wreak havoc on a 70-year-old's gastrointestinal system.
Absolutely. Is there anything more depressing than when you find yourself having marmite on toast for proper meal times rather than breakfast?
It's a sad state of affairs.
It's
the missus is away.
Yeah,
You're at home
you
by
can't
yourself.
be fucked getting off the PS5 long enough to make yourself something to not be a piece of shit long enough to eat.
My missus went away for a week, just stayed with her parents while we were working things out. And for that whole week, I didn't eat a vegetable. I got from Saturday around to Friday night, and I was like, I haven't eaten a vegetable. Like, if you count lettuce in a burger, that's probably as far as I got. So maybe Gus Gould's missus is out of town. If there was a Netflix/ESPN 30 for 30 series that comes out in 5 years that reveals the NRL, what if there was a Netflix series that comes out in 5 years that reveals the NRL's screwing the Warriors all along? I mean, I don't think that would ever come out. The only documentary that I've ever seen in that mould is Tim Donaghy, the NBA ref, who was screwing teams.
He was trying to right wrongs and try and make games closer.
Yeah, he was. He was shaving points off players.
I mean, that happens in that happens in basketball and hockey.
Does it happen in hockey?
Yeah, it happens in hockey as well. Not field hockey.
Yeah,
hockey.
The ice hockey. Just sticking on NRL as
allegedly.
well.
I mean, I don't know.
No, and I'm
just something that Joseph Jury told me.
Yeah, I'm not involved in any of it either, so don't come looking for me. In the background, I mean, NRL crowds all around the world. We were talking, I think, 2 weeks ago on this very podcast about a full moon in the background of a bloke kicking a goal over in the Northern Hemisphere. There has been I'm going to call it a virus. It's certainly an epidemic. I don't know if it's a pandemic yet, of kids getting in the background of shots at sporting fixtures and just giving it these ones. Yeah,
getting real sexual on it.
Yeah. Going full pepper grinder as well.
Yeah, pepper grinder. They're also simulating fellatio. The nips are involved. I'm not sure if they know what they're doing.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to... So you're a parent of young children, of young men, and do you think they know what they're doing? This kid that was on the screen must have been about 13.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you see it on things and you don't necessarily know what it's doing. I remember once when I was 9... the teacher said to me something, and I said, well, it's a hard job, but someone's got to do it around something. And I got sent out, and then I was being in the principal's office, and I was saying that kind of sexual content. And I was like,
is it?
What sexual content? And the principal's like, it's a hard job. Someone has to do it. And I was like, oh, no. What? I don't even know about sex. I'm 9.
I remember being...
Look, I don't know. I've had a couple of just sort of trial erections, but not really anything... that's going to end up in me doing it, Mr. Letts.
No hard jobs. That didn't even register with me as a sexual thing when you just said it then.
I know. Can you imagine how flabbergasted I was when I went into the... I was going, what? Hard job? What? Someone has to do it. Do what, Mr. Letts?
And all they've done is arm you with ammo to walk back out of the playground and be like, did you guys know that if you say hard job, that someone has to do it, that's a sexual thing? I was going around for about a year of my life calling my best friends my bum buddies.
Because that's like a bosom buddy, but a bum buddy.
That's what I thought. I just thought it was like a funny thing to say, oh, he's my bum buddy. And I was going around, and then one day my mother had to take me aside and just go, I need you to stop calling them your bum buddies.
It would be an honour if you'd call me your bum buddy.
I will start. I'm going to bring it back.
I'd happy to be your bum bunny, your bum buddy any day.
Bum bunny's a very different thing.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad, and I thought what I took away was, stop hanging out with Pete, Gus, Aaron, Eli so often. You know, that's what I thought she meant. But actually she meant you're really inferring something very different, which I think in 2023, you know, it's a very different. Yes. Parents aren't probably taking kids aside and saying, stop saying bum buddy because...
Why, Manny, when you're at school, probably kind of slightly less tolerant than back then?
Certainly less tolerant back then. All right, that'll do us for the NRL. Let's get off the rugby league. Item number 2, Super Rugby in the ABs. Mad-Eye Moody is well mad about Wayne Smith saying he wants to get rid of the rolling maul. Wayne Smith said more than that. Did you see this story this week?
Yeah, he said the game was unwatchable.
He said that he switched the game off at halftime to go and watch a David Attenborough documentary.
Yeah, and that was a game that I was covering. That was the Western Weakness versus the Highlanders
when they won.
Yeah, and I think I was calling that game. So hopefully he wasn't watching my coverage of it. But yeah, I mean... There are problems. There are definitely problems in Super Rugby. Well, I'm not sure if it's the rolling maul, and you're never going to get a Mad-Eye Moody to be against that kind of action because that's what he lives and dies for.
Yes. Yeah, well, this is what I thought when I saw it. It's like bloke who gets paid to do this thing disagrees with bloke who says we shouldn't be doing that thing
Mad-Eye Moody is not a champagne rugby enthusiast.
When you look at the top 5 try scorers of last season in Super Rugby, it's your Kurt Eklunds, it's your Samasoni Taukeiahos, it's all hookers, and it's all off the back of that rolling maul. Even in the Women's World Cup, the way that England were trying to beat us and ultimately lost was a rolling maul. And no one likes watching them.
No.
Wayne Smith's onto something.
So I think Wayne Smith's onto something as well. And so he's suggesting that when you kick that penalty to the corner, then the opposition gets the throw. Right. So, because otherwise it's kind of almost a foregone conclusion half the time. Well, in terms of percentages, compared to trying to play exciting rugby, which seems to be about 400 phases in the opposition's 22 until someone flips a coin and decides who gets the penalty.
Yeah, the ref pulls a dice out of his pocket and rolls it. I think that, the scrum resets, the fact that games are going, like, it's an hour and a half product, it should be, but these games are going for like 3 hours sometimes. You'll sit there and get to half time and you're like, good God, that was like 56 minutes that game went for. So how do you stop the rolling maul?
And you get zombie play at half time and full time when the siren's gone. But you can just play forever until it goes out. Yeah. But I think the wider issue with Super Rugby is what people have been talking about at the top of Canterbury Rugby and Auckland Rugby. They're saying there is no board that isn't specifically for Super Rugby. It's just... Right. So, like, can you imagine...
New Zealand Rugby...
The NRL has a board that runs MLB, NBA, NFL, all the biggest domestic tournaments in the world. They have a board that just makes decisions what's good for that tournament, right? Not what's good for rugby as a whole, not what's good for the All Blacks or the Wallabies, but what's good for this tournament. And what's good for Super Rugby is totally different than what's good for grassroots rugby. And definitely what's not good for the national team. That's why you don't see the MLB going, how does this affect the American national baseball team?
Oh, right, yeah.
You don't because they
don't have one.
They do, but no one gives less of a shit about it. But that's why your national side, the All Blacks, don't want Super Rugby to succeed at the expense of the All Blacks because the All Blacks is the big cash cow. Yeah. That's why they need their own board that makes decisions that makes Super Rugby better. Like every other major tournament in the world, NFL, ARL, all of them. They make decisions for the tournament, not decisions for rugby as a whole.
Good point. So who does make the decisions then? Australia and New Zealand rugby?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So across all the different things that are pushing them and pulling them in different directions, and if it's New Zealand, that's mainly putting all their efforts straight into the All Blacks. And just treating Super Rugby like it's a feeding ground for the All Blacks at best.
Yeah. So if we all agree that rolling mauls are very boring to watch, this isn't really why you get into rugby, it's certainly not why you watch it, why don't we just ban mauls? It's about like, right, if it's on your feet, you've got to go to ground, and then we play on from there, and then there's no more mauls. Why can't we just do away with that?
Well, maybe it's the kind of thing that you'd choose to do if you were going to make your tournament really, really interesting, as opposed to rugby from the top to the bottom. You might go, well, what do we do to make more people watch Super Rugby? Yeah. We'll make it more exciting within our tournament.
Yeah.
Not worry about the game as a whole, and then you might get a really successful thing. But
makes too much sense. Makes too much sense.
And I think a lot of people are going, yeah, but that's a lot of people that have played rugby, especially people that play in forward packs, are like, well, that's what the whole and it's like, yeah, but the whole thing exists for the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not freaking turning up apart from the 1 or 2 exciting games a week.
Yeah, which, speaking of, this week's one is Blues versus Crusaders. That's going to be a home game for the Saders. Why is it that there's only one big match of Super Rugby every weekend that anyone talks about?
Yeah, so the Chiefs want to beat the Crusaders. The Blues want to beat the Crusaders.
Yeah.
The Crusaders, it's just a desperate passion to beat the Crusaders, with the inevitable creeping concern that they will fart through into the final and win after having an average season.
It's because they will. They're sitting sort of middle of the table, and I think this season in particular has been a real shock for the Blues, who have just been like the darling of Super Rugby for the last 2 years, when the tournament was a little bit, they won that one with the asterisks in it.
Yeah.
Then last year they got into the semi-final. They played the grand final. Actually, I went to it, and they all left halfway into the second half, when it was apparent that the Crusaders were going to inevitably win again. And I was sitting at Eden Park, and I was just chirping all the Blues fans. They walked away. Where you going? Where you guys going? Game's still going on.
Well, Moana Pacifica in the weekend, I went along to that game at Eden Park, and like the Blues are having to win on a penalty try at the end of a game against Moana Pacifica. It's like, okay, this isn't, you're not setting the world on fire.
Yeah, that's a good point. But you want to talk about the refs being against people. God, if you're a Moana Pacifica fan, you would be spewing that that's how you lost. You had 6 men in that scrum after 2 yellow cards. They then reset the scrum like 3 or 4 times, and then eventually they're like, nah, fuck it, you guys just lose.
Yeah, another, someone in those things to yell at, another infringement, and, it's a penalty try.
Yeah.
Kind of situation. It's like, okay, you've said that, but I don't know. Anyway, I was supporting the Blues in that situation, but I watched that game from the top of the southern stand.
On top of the stand, literally standing on top of it.
So I was looking down at that last scrum from above. It's a great way to watch scrums.
So Israel Adesanya was standing on top of that thing when the All Blacks were playing here last, and then when Moana Pacifica play there, they've got you up there. Does that sort of say where you stand in the pecking order of New Zealand D-list celebrities?
When they put people on top.
Yeah.
Like we've put you.
Jacinda goes up there for the 660 concert.
Yeah.
For the All Blacks, it's Izzy, and then Moana Pacifica play, it's you and Cape Breton.
Yeah, I think that's how it sort of pans out. That's the way it works. Yeah. I'm happy with that position.
Yeah, that's great. I'd love to be there myself. Maybe the next time that the ACC is playing Movember, I can get up on top of that thing. I will be down there in Christchurch, so if you want to come and have a beer with me at Robbie's in Riccarton before the game.
Oh my God, last time I was at Robbie's in Riccarton, that was a hell of an afternoon.
Yeah. I actually spent a night at Robbie's in Riccarton as well. The next morning, we woke up in Lee Hart's motel room. I was sitting upright on the couch, fully dressed, and I'm sure you could probably guess a few of the things that were happening in that room. Where do you think Lee Hart's phone was when I woke up? If you guessed in an empty rubbish bin being used as a speaker, you are correct.
I can't believe I didn't guess that. I've seen he believes in that amplification far too much.
Yeah.
I've seen him put order a bucket full of beers up to the hotel room that I've been in, and he starts unpacking the beers and just put this thing in there, and it's like, it sort of sounds like a gramophone from 1890.
It doesn't work. I've watched him put it in a sink before as well. I'm just like, what if someone accidentally bumps the tap and that's your phone done?
And he won't let anyone put any music on that anyone likes. It's got to be some kind of credible blues guy from 1971.
Or Cat Stevens. But I digress. That won't be going on. What will be going on is the new Export Ultra, which we've got a fridge full of at the moment. We just want everyone to try it. So come down and say good day, try the beer out, tell us what you think of it.
Text Ultra to 3236 for all the deets.
But that's not the only promo that we're running at the moment. We're going to France, Matty. You and I are.
Yeah.
How's your French?
Terrible, but yours is great. I watched it on the video.
See, it's funny you say that. Go and watch that video back again. We got a correspondence from a woman who speaks fluent French, and she said it's actually really good. Except, who's the guy with the beard? Is he even speaking French? But And I did that on purpose because I know that the French, famously, they hate when you try and speak their language. They're the only European country where if you go over and have a crack at their language, they're like, no. We'll speak English, mate. You don't meet us up.
Don't spoil our language. I thought you did great, but having said that, I have no idea what great is in French. But
I thought I did.
You had the hand gestures in there.
The problem was for that photo shoot, they initially put a beret on me. And I looked very Ugandan warlord in the beret and the blazer. And so we had to sort of tone it down a bit.
But that whole video's got a bit of a French resistance vibe. Because I don't speak French, I assumed that you guys were you're planning to blow up a bridge somewhere in Paris in 1942.
Yeah, the Archduke Franz Ferdinand needs to keep his wits about him if he's driving around town in an open-top car.
If you want to come with me and Manaia and Jeremy and Marty Lane, then text Paris to 3236. That's Paris to 3236. All right, then?
The NBA playoffs are in full swing at the moment, Maddie. I'm going to consult my oracle here to make sure that I've got these scores correct. But LeBron is playing Steph Curry, which I think even the casual fan can get involved in. LeBron is up 3-1. Are you a Lakers fan? I know you're a Dodgers fan.
I'm a Lakers fan, yeah. I mean, the Dodgers have released all the stuff of them wearing Lakers uniforms. Right. You know, I love how the teams support each other. Well, they choose who they support. They don't support Clippers, but they choose how they support the major ones. And I was watching yesterday, and LeBron knocked a dude on his ass. What happened? I had to have the sound off because I was doing something, and there was more replays of it of anything in the world.
Was this on the court?
On the court, yeah.
I don't know. No, this is just one of those things where whenever somebody tries to take a charge, because when LeBron goes barreling into the lane, you're not going to block him. The bloke is 6'9". He's like,
so you start walking backwards and trying to get offensive foul,
and you fall over.
And you roll backwards,
and then inevitably your coach will review it. Then they'll check 17 different angles, and then they never overturn that because it's a 50-50 call. It could go either way, and as if the ref's going to really look at it and be like, oh yeah, I got that one wrong. No, they inevitably just go, you
purposely got in the way.
We reviewed it and we found out that we were actually right. A super team was assembled towards the end of the season, the Phoenix Suns. They brought in Kevin Durant after Sean Marks' Nets imploded during the season, and it's looking like they're going to get knocked out of the playoffs because despite having all the better players, you can't just randomly put a hodgepodge of players together and expect that they're going to win, can you?
You got to be a team. Well, even in basketball, you've got to be a team.
So depending on when you're hearing this, the Lakers will be playing the Warriors today, Thursday, in 3 hours at 2 p.m. So depending on when you hear this, get to the pub and go and watch that one because you could see LeBron knocking Steph Curry out.
But I like that. I'd enjoy that. I enjoy that so much.
Here's a hot tip for you, and I said this yesterday on the daily agenda. Anytime a team is facing elimination, but the other team isn't, so if it's 3-1 or if it's 3-2 or whatever, you can't fake that kind of desperation. So bet on the team that's facing elimination. They inevitably win that one. So I think that the Golden State Warriors are going to win this one today.
Okay.
It's going to be tense. And in that Nuggets versus Suns debacle, I don't know if you saw it, Jokic. Are you familiar with this bloke?
No.
They call him Big Chungus. He's about 7 feet tall, big Serbian bloke. He is enormous, and he walked into the crowd to try and grab the basketball that had gone out of bounds, and the owner of the Suns walked up beside him and wouldn't give him the ball, and so Jokic just elbowed him and bumped him back into his seat. So, I don't know. Nothing came from it. I think it was like a $20,000 fine, which Jokic would wipe his ass with $20,000. And then the owner of the Suns, they've squashed the beef. But I'd like to see a little bit more beef, If you're gonna be getting in players' faces as the owner of a franchise, just stick to your guns.
I think in any sport across anywhere in the world, slowing down the ball going to the person that needs it is the most annoying thing. Just throwing it backwards, rugby, kicking it away, all that kind of stuff. Let's just get the ball to the person. Yeah,
same. But I don't like the guy who, and halfbacks do this in rugby every single time, who runs over and tries to rip the ball away. Like, it's a scrum. Yeah. So we got to wait to feed the scrum anyway. So all you're doing is just like trying to be niggly for no reason. Yeah. And in basketball, it's the same thing. Like, even if you get the ball, you still have to give it to the ref. The ref's just going to wait until everyone's like back where they need to be and then start. So why are you trying to run and rip the ball off us?
Yeah, so it's an opportunity to be just a little bit physical.
Yeah.
Especially, that's the great role of a halfback. It's to be tiny and really annoying to big guys that could kill you.
Yeah.
If it was at a bar, you'd be dead, but this is your opportunity. You just buzz around them like a fly on shit and really piss them off.
That's because you've got a bunch of brutes on your team. But the NBA playoffs are in full swing. There are 2 more rounds left to go after this, but plenty of opportunities to make a bit of money. We'll have to get into the Game Day Good Punt later on as well. All right, all thanks to Leader NZ, the ACC could be keeping you and your flatmates fueled this Super Rugby season. All you have to do is text TOPPER to 3236 for your chance to win a limited edition Topper warmer and a freezer full of lasagna toppers. Does it get any better, Matt Heath? I can tell you for a fact before you even answer it, it doesn't.
Well, what if you put them in a burger?
A Topper burger?
Have you tried a Topper burger?
I have not tried a Topper burger.
Oh my God, a Topper burger. You got to try a Topper burger. That's the only way you can top a topper. You put that topper in a burger.
Well, I can say as someone who we have one of these exact freezers full of toppers in our office.
Yeah.
We've also got the pie warmer. It is tremendous.
Yeah.
The particularly the Southern Fried Chicken one, I know we keep going on about it, and they're not paying us specifically to talk about that product, but it is excellent.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Wide on of the week so far, Matt Heath, what obscure American sport got you wide this week?
Well, I was very excited, and I'm a punisher, and I know it in advance, I'll admit that, but the Padres are trying to create this kind of rivalry with the Dodgers. The Dodgers don't really care. There was a situation in the playoffs where the Padres got lucky around Manny Machado being a penis and a goose landing on the field. I was actually there at Dodger Stadium when this goose
I remember this.
landed on the field, and I was in a part of a stand that was chanting "Luck Duck, Luck Duck," and we thought we were going to have a rally because this goose had landed in shallow right field. Anyway, the Padres are trying to start this rivalry with the Dodgers, but the Dodgers' rivalry is against the Giants. They both moved from New York together to keep the rivalry. The Giants hated the Dodgers so much when they were both from New York in the 1950s that when the Dodgers moved, the Giants moved as well because they wanted to keep effing them up on the West Coast. Anyway, the Padres are trying to do everything they can to start a rivalry. So when the Dodgers lost, they're playing a series. And when the Dodgers lost, they put a picture of Clayton Kershaw crying on the big screen. Crying. They did a cry thing.
Yeah, like a Steve Smith cry thing.
Yeah, cry thing. And there was no class.
Yeah.
But then Dodgers came back and won the series, and it was so good, and the stadium was so silent.
Yeah.
And so that was my wide on of the week because I was so angry about that. Kershaw coming on the screens. You've just won the game. Celebrate the game. And also the other thing is they're just chanting "beat LA" the whole time. Beat LA. Just back yourself. Don't yell "beat." Don't chant "beat LA" and then lose. And then Kersh crying and then lose. It was so freaking good.
So that's a spite wide on.
Yeah, spite wide. And you're never going to be Padres. And this is so punishing for everyone that doesn't care about this. But you can't. Those rivalries. You can't
manufacture them.
They're trying to make themselves relevant as a kind of piss weak franchise by just trying to rile up the Dodgers fans. The Dodgers, we're angry at the Giants. We're always going to be angry at the Giants.
Yeah,
we don't have no time to be angry at the Padres.
I think this about the Chiefs. The Chiefs have this weird resentment against the Blues. They have this weird resentment against the Crusaders, and neither the Blues nor the Crusaders even fucking think about the Chiefs.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
Obviously Hamilton's just up the road from Auckland, and they always think, the big city boys always get the rub of the green.
It's a San Diego, LA situation. It's very similar.
Yeah. But then I don't know why. I know there's some sort of angst between the Chiefs and the Crusaders, probably just because the Crusaders win so many titles. Is it embarrassing to be in a beef with someone who doesn't know they're in a beef with you?
Yeah. Although when I say that the Dodgers don't care, when I was over there, went over to see some Dodgers games at the end of the last year, and on the front of the LA Times, it said, Dodgers fans need to learn to hate the Padres as much as we hate the Giants. There's a very different approach to sport over there.
Well, right, they're instructing you how to feel about the team.
Yeah, but we just wouldn't say that. We wouldn't say Blues need to hate the Chiefs. We would never. We would never it wouldn't be just so mainstream to be in the LA Times.
Yeah,
Dodgers fans need to learn to hate the Padres as much as we hate the Giants.
Very American of them.
Yeah.
Wide on of the week for me, this LA versus Golden State Warriors thing has been tremendous for me. To get it in the second round, like every other afternoon, you've got LeBron playing Steph Curry.
Yeah,
it's excellent.
Hate Steph Curry.
We'll see exactly, and he was unanimously beloved for years and years and years. And then inevitably the pendulum swings back the other way. Presumably, why do you hate Steph Curry?
Because I want people to take it to the paint.
Okay.
And I don't like the way he chews his mouth guard. You know, it's quite superficial stuff, really.
Fair enough. But if he was the underdog, I feel like you'd love him for the exact same reason. You'd be like,
exactly.
I love how he doesn't take it to the paint. I love how he nonchalantly chews on his...
Yeah, he's just dropping threes. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know G Lane hates him because he now hates having to go watch age grade basketball because all they do is jack threes and don't actually.
Well, they never
play
jack
basketball.
three. The problem with age grade is they don't jack the threes.
Oh, don't they?
So
What are they doing?
they're falling short. They're
right.
miles
Yeah.
away, but they think they can stand back and they
Hoist.
like, good luck, mate. Just do your layups.
Yeah.
Do your fast break and your layups.
Yeah.
Don't try and you're not the NBA.
There's something inspirational about watching LeBron at 38 years old as well. You can tell that he thinks he might be able to win this competition because they had been in a little bit of a hard fought, like start of the season series was. And then you look around the other series and there's a whole lot of other teams really struggling as well. So I think LeBron's like, look, if we can fluke this, if there's a couple of injuries that go our way, it's going to be great. And in that last game, depending on when you're listening to this, the game 4, they had a bloke called Lonnie Walker IV, tremendous name. Can't believe that there's been 5 Lonnie Walkers now. But he came out and he scored 15 points out of nowhere. He hadn't played in the rest of the season. I think he only scored 15 points in the game, and they all happened in the fourth quarter. And it was just like, I don't know if you remember Linsanity when Jeremy Lin was going off for the New York Knicks, but it was like, you kind of felt like he was just a rec league player, and that if you had stuck with it, that you could have been Lonnie Walker. Like, you couldn't have been LeBron. You probably couldn't have been Steph Curry. But I could have got a 10-day contract, come out and score 15 points in one game. Surely. Having said that, I did only score 2 points for my social basketball team last night. And,
sometimes it's enough. Sometimes you get 10 wickets for New Zealand in an innings and never be invited back to play for the team ever again.
Seen it happen. All right, attendance required. Warriors are playing Bulldogs this Friday at 8 p.m. on Sky Sports 6. The Crusaders versus the Blues are playing on 7 p.m. Saturday night live on Sky Sport Pop-Up 1 and free on iHeartradio. Make sure that you do go and find that Sky Sport Pop-Up 1 channel because it can be very confusing sometimes hopping around and we get all these texts saying, why are you guys hiding the channel? Where is it?
Yeah, well, it's not us that's hiding it.
No, it's not us. It's big sports media. And if you jump on there and it's playing surfing, just press the live button and skip ahead to when the game's on because that's what happened last time to me.
Yeah, I've fallen for that where you start watching, you're like, when's the freaking game going to play? Why am I watching Major League Soccer?
Before you know it, you've watched half an hour of some surf league in
like some Australian, 2 Australian A-League teams playing each other. It was like, what's going on? And then you realise as your phone's lighting up with spoilers that you've effed up.
It is required for me. I think the Warriors can jag this one. The 1NZ Warriors. Depends whether the refs are on our side or not. But I do think that this is one that they could win.
Do you reckon members of the board are taking Jason Paris's phone off him before this game? You got the board of bum rushing his mention and going, mate, just...
No, I reckon they write off whatever fine he gets as a marketing expense. And
it's true. No one said One New Zealand more... You know, they did the rebrand, and we've been saying it constantly. One New Zealand CEO, One New Zealand CEO.
100%.
And you know what? I was a little bit dubious about changing. You know, the Vodafone Warriors has been in your mind so long. But One New Zealand Warriors sounds bloody good. It sounds like we're the whole country with the Warriors.
Well, they've always been the New Zealand Warriors, but people think of them as an Auckland-only team because they only play in Auckland. But yeah, like you say, now that you're shoehorning,
you were saying Vodafone Warriors. Now you're saying the One New Zealand Warriors.
Yeah, I'm all in on that. That one could be pretty good. And the attendance required for me is any elimination game in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
There's just no tension quite like it. All right, it's time now for the Topper Plays of the Week.
Topper Plays of the Week. Brought to you by Leader NZ's Lasagna Topper.
Great library music we've got there.
That is a hell of an intro, isn't it? I always feel like I'm not going to live up to it. But the Simpsons have mentioned New Zealand and the country has lost its mind, Matt Heath. There was a headline in the papers yesterday saying that Artie Savea bites back at Bart Simpson. And I thought, surely there's some administrator in New Zealand rugby called Bart Simpson with a really unfortunate name. No, it's the actual Bart Simpson, and we got the audio here.
Try oddsmonster.crypto.
Don't mind if I do. Ooh, New Zealand rugby. Whatever rugby is, Wellington sucks at it.
That's what Ardie Savea had to bite back at. That's going to air in New Zealand in about 3 weeks, I believe. It's just come out in the States. Don't we love it when people talk about New Zealand?
Yeah, so I think with that, because they're doing a crypto episode of The Simpsons, obviously, and they've tried to think about the most dodgy thing that you could invest money in.
Yes.
And sometimes in New Zealand, because we think we're so important, because it's our entire lives, but we are considered like weird, like Timbuktu or some weird province in Iceland or something.
Yeah.
So often when people try and come up with an example of weirdness and irrelevance, they
Yeah.
use New Zealand because it's like New Zealand, it's got Zealand in it, and Wellington. So they've gone, and rugby. It's like, for us, that makes perfect sense. New Zealand, Wellington, rugby.
And we think it's more important than it is.
Yeah, but for the Simpsons writers, they're like, that's 3 really weird and obscure things that you could lose a lot of money in crypto on.
Yeah, that's right. I was just saying yesterday, it's like it's the equivalent of us betting on Lithuanian lawn bowls.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. For them, that's what they're looking at
It's
it
the
as.
most bizarre, abstract thing. And there's no case in point better than the fact that they called it New Zealand rules rugby. So they've obviously tossed up. I reckon they would have been looking through and been like, what's Australian rules? What the hell is that? And then they go, no, let's do rugby. Oh, well, if we're going to do rugby, let's do New Zealand. Okay, New Zealand rules rugby. And then some of the matchups that they had as well, they had Tauranga versus Christchurch, and then they had Rotorua versus Dunedin. Very, very weird. So it's not Super Rugby. It's not even really NPC because
It's not a target.
well, yeah, it's not Bay of Plenty. It's not Canterbury. They've just like Googled places.
It's a half Google or a chat GPT.
It is a chat GPT, isn't it? Because when you Google New Zealand, Rotorua is probably what comes up. Whereas when you're here, you never go there.
Yeah, it's the most mentioned things. I'm surprised it wasn't Queenstown versus Rotorua.
Yeah, it should have been. Number 2 in the top of players of the week, JT was at the Magic Round for the NRL and just crushing beers. We don't have the audio for that. We'll chuck that one in the background. He's a real man of the people, is Jonathan Thurston. He's got a tremendous laugh. He laughs like a hyena, and he, famously won the premiership for the North Queensland Cowboys that got them that splendid new stadium that they've got there. I just love seeing blokes like him just still living it up. That's what rugby league is famous for, that kind of thing. And he's not, too above his station to where he's still a man of the people, and he's just happy to crush piss with the blokes out in the stands.
And that's something that NRL's got over rugby is the ex-players, because ex-rugby players become very serious.
They do, eh?
And you'll see them sitting in the crowd with a lot of scarves on, a hat, freezing cold,
Looking like me right now.
trying to look really serious.
Yeah.
They're not like yucking it up.
They're not characters.
No.
That is a problem. That's just Australians, though. They're very chirpy. They're very chatty.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's true. And there's a lot more of them, I guess. There's a lot more very famous ex-rugby league players. The characters really stand out.
If you were to think of a Kiwi former rugby player who, when we pan up at Super Round, God bless Super Round, wasn't that amazing this year? Who would be the most likely candidate to be up there smashing piss in the stands?
Well, I'm going to rule out Manu Vadavai straight away.
Because he's a league player.
Oh, were you saying rugby?
I'm saying rugby union.
I
yeah.
thought you were saying New Zealand, because I was just thinking who are our post-league
Oh, no.
characters.
There'd be plenty of leaguers that would do it, yeah.
Jesus Christ, who would be? Like...
You're so right.
You get a wheeler up there.
Oh, you get a wheeler up there, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a photo of your shoulder of Richie McCaw. I can't see it happening.
No, a whore.
Excuse me?
A whore.
An
ex-rugby playing whore might be up there.
Andrew Hoare?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, I could see that happening. Maybe Jason Rutledge, perhaps.
Yeah. I didn't make it very clear with my...
Yeah, no.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on iHeartradio or wherever you get your podcasts.